Rob from RM Project UK. If you're watching this, stop watching now. Hello, welcome to the Battling Barrow, and that intro was just for one of my players who sometimes watches the videos. You've seen him on the channel, it's Rob. Yeah, this is a video about my D&D campaign. The first part was ages ago, and unfortunately, ironically, for a video series about planning, I had poor planning and didn't get time to record the second part, and that's what this is. So let's get going. First up, an update regarding the rule set. Originally I said I was going to use BECMI with bits of 5e pulled in. Now, having a few games with my group, I've decided to tackle this the other way around. I'll run 5e and pulling rules from BECMI that I want into that. The reason for this is my players seem to get on with 5e more. To be honest, by the time I've reversed things like the RC and removed FACO and things like that, we were almost at 5e anyway. Next up, the campaign setting. I think last time I said I would create my own setting, but thanks to adult life and the limited time that it gives you for such things, I've decided to base my campaign on Mystara. This was my first ever campaign setting that I ever knew of anyway, and it's the one that's in BECMI, so that kind of makes sense for me. It's a nice setting. It gives you a lot of freedom to explore. There's a lot of just here's a thing and that's what there is, and you can put your own stamp on it. But now that's out of the way, let's get on with the video's topic. When it comes to most players, especially modern newer players, they are probably used to running campaigns based on official books such as these. They form a tight narrative with a start and a finish and an almost linear progression in play. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is another way of playing, and that is the Sandbox. This is where players choose where they want to go and what they want to do, forming their own stories. But this can be daunting for a lot of DMs, especially newer ones. The choice to do whatever for the players can scare the DM, but there is a secret. You only give the players the illusion of choice. In this video, I'll go over how to do that. Most session zeros are all about character creation, and then if there's time, the planned campaign can begin that night, as you know what the story is. With a sandbox, that can't happen, as the DMs will be completely unprepared, so what can you do? First, I get my players to create their characters beforehand. We're all friends, so we do this during, say, a non-gaming hangover, perhaps taking 30 minutes before a movie night. Then, on gaming night, you have a few small things lined up, namely making use of a town notice board and the good old rumours table. The Essentials kit introduces DMs and players to the notice board and what it is. Simply put, it's a mechanic for listing small side quests. It of course doesn't have to be an actual notice board. It could be an employer, a number of different people offering players work. The key is the quests are small, something you have prepared before the session, and now the players are presented with choices, and to them it's given them the illusion of freedom. They have picked their own path. The rumour table works in a similar way. It's a staple of good old games. This is just a list of various things such as background information, exposition, and importantly for this video, adventure hooks. Again, these are small and easy to run affairs. Now you have seemingly given your players even more freedom. But here's the thing, you only need to have prepared 2 of these mini adventures, and whichever one they pick from the notice board or the rumour, it will lead to one of these adventures, which you design in such a way that that fact isn't noticeable. One thing you may want to add to the rumours table are false rumours. This was done a lot back in the day, and even if new adventures printed use rumour tables, they normally don't include false rumours. Those that have used false rumours will never forget Keep on the Borderlands Bree arc. This is so infamous that it makes it into the 5e monster manual, albeit in a referential way. and there's sort of a quote on the page here. Now, with either notice board or rumours, the thing for progression is to introduce milestones. So when a number of these smaller quests are completed, the players reach a milestone. So for the first session, this is setting up the first adventure you actually want to run. Once your players take the bait and start that adventure, that night's session ends. You as a DM now have time to fully prepare the running of that adventure. Next session, you begin where you left off at the start of that adventure. You also have time to restock the notice board or rumour table with choices of the next adventures you would like to run. So when this one is complete, the players return to town and they will pick these up, seemingly given the choice of freedom. Once again, you will end the session at the start of the adventure, forming some sort of cliffhanger. So even though it looks like you as a DM have given your players choices, it is still tightly controlled. But even then, players can throw a spanner into the works and not follow up on any of these choices. So what then? It involves a little more prep work, but it's something you have ready for each session, and if it gets used, you work on another for the next session. This is what Dungeon Magazine used to call side treks. These are small 4-page-ish adventures that you could run at any time, normally in any location. So your players immediately leave town, not take up the notice board or rumour quest. Don't worry, just have a wilderness side trek ready to go. And as a fallback, there is also the random encounter table, but this is more for advanced DMs who can pull this off convincingly and not look what it is, a panicked random encounter. So let's go over how I'm planning on running my session 0. First of all, I want the real adventure to be Castle Corgwell, so all my milestones will be leading to this. To begin with, I have prepared a background on Keramikos, so my players who are unfamiliar with the setting, which is most of them, will get a bit of feel for what it is. I'm starting in the town of Threshold with my players arriving in town, so I have a description of the town for them. There will be a friendly encounter with Sergeant Arthol, and here is the introduce your characters section part. Next, they go to the town square, and there's two important things going on here. The first is a meeting with Alina the cleric. She offers her healing services to the players. I want to make her instantly liked by my players. What I am trying to do here is build up a relationship, as I am planning to run the intro quests from the Red Box set, where as kids we did this and instantly fell in love with Alina and were mortified by what happens to her. So I'm trying to get that across for my players. We'll get into that in a bit, but I want my players to feel emotions when Alina meets her ultimate fate, and I want them to get revenge against Bargle. The other important thing here is the notice board. In my case, an actual physical notice board. On these there will be 3 easy to run quests that I can run that session, doesn't matter which one they pick. I have 3 mini adventures based or inspired by adventure hooks presented in the expert set. The first is the Old Mill. This is a simple 4-room dungeon clearing out an area of rats and bugs. Basically, it's that quest in the first Baldur's Gate game where you kill the rats in the warehouse in Candlekeep. Next, I have the Attic, or as I'm going to call it in my game, Noises in the Attic. This is even smaller, for it being a 2-room affair, and the second room there are lots of sturges. There's also a dead body of a thief here, as someone thought the widow had lots of money and broke in and run afoul of the sturges. This could, of course, lead to a follow-up quest where the Thieves Guild hired a party to investigate the missing thief. This could also introduce the players to the criminal world of Keramikos, perhaps leading to the Veiled Society, which is B7? 8? Anyway, could lead to that adventure module being played out. The last quest is a little wilderness adventure based on the Riverside tragedy. I call this one Down by the River because I liked the Neil Young reference. This is about a missing boy who has run afoul of some snakes. This reminds me I need to work on some outside dungeon tile sets, so that's something I need to get planned. My first milestone then is when one of these is completed. It will be replaced with what I'm calling the first Bargle quest. For those who don't know the setting, Bargle is a sort of player nemesis for the setting, first introduced in the basic solo game. It is he who kills Alina. Spoiler warning. Perhaps I should have done the spoiler warning before. But this will also introduce Tarn Keep and the Baron, giving the players access to a potential patron who can give out even more adventures. If they visit the keep, they are told that Alina has taken up the job. End of part 1 for that questline. So that's the first part of this Bargle sort of ongoing series I have planned. What this is effectively doing in the background is running that first part of the basic solo quest, but the players won't encounter that just yet. So we're getting towards the end of the first session I've planned. Once another job is taken from the notice board, Castle Caldwell is then added to the board. So now we would have the remaining job, Castle Caldwell, on the board. Once that job is taken up, so they can still run the other quest if they want, I'm going to have plenty of time for that, but once that Castle Caldwell is taken up and they go to meet him and to inquire about the quest, that's when the session ends. This then gives me plenty of time to fully prepare that adventure. I will also work out a couple more just in case sidetracks. Once Caldwell is then completed, what I'm calling Bargle Part 2 gets added to the board. This is going to be based on a adventure from pandius.com called Find Bargle, and I'll also add another small job to the board, and so on. So what about rumours? I'm preparing them as well, so they could be something that will be run. I'm going to prepare 2 lists, one for true rumours, one for false, that I'll give out as I see fit. But just because they are false though doesn't necessarily mean they won't lead to an adventure. Take the rumour about the trees in the Black Woods being alive and moving about. This again is taken from the expert set, and even though the trees are not alive, Bargle's men are disguised as trees. This could lead to an adventure where the players investigate this rumour, which turns out to be false. I have split my rumours into groups in each list. I have background information, and this is for when I want to do a bit of world building and explaining the setting of the game to my players. I can give this out at any time. The other group are adventure hooks. When I feel like running a particular adventure next session, I will drop in that hook, and hopefully the players will take up that bait. The false rumours, whilst false, do serve a purpose. The Traladarians are supposed to be a very superstitious people, so I have built the rumours up around that to add flavour. And that's pretty much it for sandboxes. They seem like they would be really difficult with all the potential choice they offer, but thanks to that illusion of freedom, they are quite easy and fun to run. I have found over the years that my players kind of enjoy this style of play more than being railroaded into a fixed module. So I've got a notepad where I work out all my notes, and what I've done is I have written these up into a nice Word document to make it easier for me to read. And what I'm doing at the moment is I am playing around with putting it up into a PDF. Once I'm happy with it, I'll probably make it available to my patrons as a little thank you for them. But that is it for this video on my D&D planning. I'm hoping to get this run, and I might do a video where I give you an update on how it went, what my players did. Yeah, similar to, there's a channel called the dungeon minister, which is great, and he's doing that. He's giving you information about his campaign he's running based on BECMI with his family. It's superb, so go and have a watch of that just for be entertained and so forth. So I might do something similar, who knows. But that's it for this waffly video. Until the next one, guys, stay safe, take care, bye bye.